Absolutely. This is a Percy Jackson story. It's a classic first-person Percy Jackson story. It's the first one I've written since the Demigod Diaries. I wrote this for an upcoming anthology called Guys Read. And if you don't know that program, it's a great program. John Sheska, the guy who wrote The Stinky Cheese Man, he sort of launched this program because sometimes for guys it's hard. I know this personally. It's hard to find things that guys want to read. So he kind of made this website for them. But of course, it's not just for guys. It's good books for girls as well. Anybody who likes to read hopefully will like these. And he's doing a collection of science fiction fantasy short stories. And there's going to be an original Percy Jackson story in that book. It's the first time I've ever done a Percy Jackson short story for another sort of book, for an anthology. This will be out next year at this time, so you guys are really getting a huge sneak peek. It's called Percy Jackson and the Singer of Apollo. And the really cool thing about this is the first time since the Percy Jackson series where we see Grover. And what's up?
Team Grover!
He does nothing. Percy Jackson and the Singer of Apollo. I know what you're going to ask. Percy Jackson, why are you hanging from a Times Square billboard without your pants on, about to fall to your death? Good question. You can blame Apollo, the god of music, archery, poetry, also the god of making me do stupid quests. This particular disaster started when I brought my friend Grover some aluminum cans for his birthday. Perhaps I should mention I'm a demigod. My dad Poseidon is Lord of the Sea, which sounds cool, I guess, but mostly it means my life is filled with monster attacks and annoying Greek gods who tend to pop up on the subway, or in the middle of math class, or when I'm taking a shower. Long story, don't ask. I figured maybe I'd get the day off from the craziness for Grover's birthday, but of course, I was wrong. Grover and his girlfriend Juniper were spending the day in Prospect Park in Brooklyn, doing nature-y stuff like dancing with the local tree nymphs and serenading the squirrels. Grover's a satyr, that's his idea of fun. His girlfriend Juniper seemed to be having an especially good time. While Grover and I sat on the bench together, she frolicked across the long meadow with the other nature spirits, her chlorophyll-tinted eyes glinting in the sunlight. Since she was a dryad, Juniper's life source was tied to a juniper bush back in Long Island. But Grover explained that she could take short trips away from home, as long as she kept a handful of berries in her pockets. I didn't want to ask what would happen if the berries accidentally got smashed. Anyway, we hung out for a while, talking, enjoying the nice weather. I gave Grover his aluminum cans, which may seem like a lame gift, but that's his favorite snack. He was munching happily on the cans while the nymphs started discussing what party games we should play. Grover pulled a blindfold out of his pocket and suggested pin the tail on the human, which made me kind of nervous since I was the only human. And then, without warning, the sunlight brightened. The air turned uncomfortably hot. 20 feet away, the grass hissed, and a cloud of steam whooshed up like somebody opening a big pressing machine in a laundromat. The steam cleared, and standing in front of us was the god Apollo. Now, gods can look like anything they want, but Apollo always seemed to go for that I just graduated from a boy band look. Today he was rocking pencil-thin jeans, a white muscle shirt, and gilded Ray-Ban sunglasses. His wavy blonde hair glistened with product. He smiled, and the dryad squealed and giggled. "Oh no," Grover said, "this can't be good." "Percy Jackson," Apollo beamed at me. "And, your goat friend." "His name's Grover," I said, "and we're kind of off-duty, Lord Apollo. It's Grover's birthday." "Happy birthday," Apollo said. "I'm so glad you're taking the day off. That means you two have time to help me with a little problem." Naturally, the problem wasn't little. Apollo led Grover and me away from the party so we could talk in private. Juniper didn't want to let Grover go, but she couldn't argue with a god. Grover promised to come back safely. I hoped it was a promise he could keep. When we got to the edge of the woods, Apollo faced us. "Allow me to introduce the Crucii Caledones." The god snapped his fingers, more steam erupted from the ground, and 3 golden women appeared in front of us. When I say golden, I mean they were literally gold. Their metallic skin glittered. Their sleeveless gowns were made from enough gilded fabric to finance a bailout. Their golden hair was braided and piled on top of their heads like a classical beehive hairdo. They were identically beautiful and identically scary. I'd seen living statues, automatons, many times. Beautiful or not, they always tried to kill me. I took a step back. What did you say these were? Chrissy Kelly something? Chrissy Caledones. Apollo said, golden singers. They're my backup band. I glanced at Grover, wondering if this was some kind of joke. Grover wasn't laughing. His mouth hung open in amazement, as if the golden ladies were the largest, tastiest aluminum cans he'd ever seen. I didn't think they were real. Apollo smiled. Well, it's been a few centuries since I brought them out. They don't perform too often these days, or their novelty wears off. They used to live at my temple in Delphi. Man, they could rock that place. Now I only bring them out for special occasions. Grover got teary-eyed. You brought them out for my birthday? Apollo laughed. No, you fool. I've got a concert tonight on Mount Olympus. Everyone's going to be there. The 9 muses are opening, and I'm performing a mix of old favorites and new material. I mean, it's not like I need the Caledonians. My solo career has been great. But people will expect to hear some of my classic hits with the girls. Daphne on My Mind, Stairway to Olympus, Sweet Home Atlantis. It's going to be awesome. I try not to look nauseous. I'd heard Apollo's poetry before, and if his music was that bad, this concert was going to blow harder than Aeolus the wind god. Great, I said half-heartedly. So, what's the problem? Apollo's smile faded. Listen! He turned to the golden singers and raised his hand like a conductor. On cue, they all sang in harmony. It was one chord, but it filled me with bliss. I felt like I was floating out of my shoes. Then the golden girls went silent. The feeling passed. Their faces turned beautiful and massive metal. Dad, I said, that was amazing. Amazing? Apollo wrinkled his nose. There are only 3 of them. Their harmonies are empty. I can't perform without the full quartet. Grover was weeping with joy. They're so beautiful. They're perfect. I was kind of glad Juniper wasn't there because she's the jealous type. Apollo crossed his tan arms. They're not perfect, Mr. Satyr. I need all 4. This concert is ruined. Unfortunately, my 4th Celadon went rogue this morning. I can't find her anywhere. I looked at the 3 golden automatons. How does a backup singer go rogue? Apollo made another conductor wave, and the singers sighed in 3-part harmony. The sound was so mournful, my heart sank into my gut. They're out of warranty, the god said. Hephaestus made them for me back in the old days, and they worked fine until the day after their 2,000-year warranty expired. Then naturally, wham, the 4th one goes haywire and runs off to the big city. He gestured in the general direction of Manhattan. Of course, I tried to complain to Hephaestus, but he's all like, well, did you have the Protection Plus package? And I'm like, I didn't want your stupid extended warranty. And he acts like it's my fault that the Celadon broke, and he says if I brought the Plus package, I'd have a dedicated service hotline, and whoa. I said, I really didn't want to get into the middle of a God versus God argument. I've been there too many times. So if you know your Celadon's in the city, why can't you just go look for her? I don't have time. I gotta practice. I have to write a set list and do a sound check. Besides, that's what heroes are for. Running the god's errands, I said. Exactly. Apollo spread his hands. I assume the missing Celadon's roaming the theater district looking for a suitable place to audition. Caledonians have the usual starlit dreams, being discovered, headlining a Broadway musical, that sort of thing. Most of the time I can keep them in check. I mean, I can't have them upstaging me, can I? But without me around, she probably thinks she's the next Hannah Montana. You two need to get her before she causes any problems, and you better hurry. The concert's tonight, and Manhattan is fairly large. Grover tugged his goatee. So you want us to find her while you do sound checks? Think of it as a favor, Apollo said. Not just for me, but for all those mortals in Manhattan. Oh, Grover's voice got very small. Oh, no. What? I demanded. What, oh, no? Years ago, Grover had created a magical empathy link between us. Another long story. And I could sense his emotions. I could tell he was terrified. Percy, he said, if that Celadon starts singing in public in the middle of afternoon rush hour, she'll cause no end of havoc, Apollo said. She might sing a love song or a lullaby or a patriotic war tune and whatever the mortals hear. I shuddered. One sigh from the Golden Girls had plunged me into despair. I couldn't imagine what it would do in the middle of a crowded city in rush hour. Okay, she has to be stopped. I said, but why us? I like you, Apollo grinned. You've had the sirens on your case before. This isn't too different. Just put some wax in your ears. Besides, your friend Grover's a satyr. He has magical resistance to music. Plus, he can play the lyre. What lyre? I said. Apollo snapped his fingers, and suddenly Grover was holding the weirdest-looking musical instrument I'd ever seen. The bass was a hollowed-out tortoise shell, which made me feel really bad for the tortoise. 2 polished wooden arms stuck out the side like bull horns, with a bar across the top and 7 strings running down the middle. It looked like a combination harp, banjo, and dead turtle. Oh, Grover said, I couldn't, that's your... Yep, Apollo said, that's my own personal lyre. Of course, if you damage it, I'll incinerate you. But I'm sure you'll be careful. Grover plucked a few notes. It sounded like a funeral dirge. Oh, keep practicing. You'll need the magic, Apollo said. Have Percy distract her while you play. This quest was sounding worse and worse. I didn't see how a tortoiseshell harp was going to defeat the automaton, but Apollo clapped me on the shoulder like everything was settled. Excellent. I'll see you at the Empire State Building at sunset. Bring me the Celadon. One way or another, I'll persuade Hephaestus to fix her. Just don't be late. I can't keep my audience waiting. And remember, not a scratch on that lyre. And then the sun god and his backup singers disappeared in a cloud of steam. Happy birthday to me, Grover whimpered and plucked a sour note on his harp. And that's the beginning of the story.